Welcome to episode 331 of the Postal Hub podcast. I'm Ian Kerr. Joining me in a moment is the Managing Director of DHL Express Germany, Mustafa Tonguç, and we're going to talk about things like resilience, risk management, B2B e-commerce, and much more. Joining me on the line is Mustafa Tonguç. Mustafa is Managing Director for DHL Express Germany. Mustafa, welcome to the Postal Hub podcast. We're going to talk about a couple of what shall we call them? Some of the major themes that are impacting on the last mile, the delivery world in particular. Why don't we start off with, we've chosen a couple of topics for our discussion today. Let's talk about resilience and risk management. It's a topic we don't often talk about out loud in our sector. So often we're talking about the customer experience and speed of delivery and all those fancy, sexy things like that. Yet resilience and risk management, these are core things for us, for the delivery sector, aren't they?
Yeah, indeed. First of all, good morning from Germany. Nice to be with you, Ian. From our perspective, yes, resilience, I think, has proven to be more critical than ever, especially since the pandemic has changed a lot in our supply chain. We have seen that the standard supply chains can't work anymore, where we had the close downs of the countries, like customers didn't get their goods. And then actually I would say at the moment, the most trendy words you hear, like Omni-shoring, near-shoring, reshoring, they all actually proving that we need to be flexible and have a better base and better opportunities in terms of where you get your goods off. Especially when you look from the European perspective, which is one of the biggest, let's say, importing areas or countries. In Europe, we actually had, normally China was the biggest export country. And we could see over the last couple of years, it's not changed a lot, to be honest, because the production capability of China is still, I think, unparalleled to any other country. But we could see that the volumes are picking up, especially in countries like from Vietnam, Malaysia, a lot. And then we see also, like for the US, it's not only China anymore, that lots of goods also are being produced in Mexico, Guatemala. And I think this is proving that resilience is really critical. And we as DHL, as a partner, we have also an unparalleled network, which means we operating in more than 220 countries and territories, supporting companies for the switch. Give an example: if a customer is based in China and switching today to Malaysia, we are there already, and we're helping the customer with the same quality, the same speed, what they need for their customers. But I think also from resilience is not only a buzzword for logistics, but also for our customers. Lots of customers actually following also our capabilities in country even. Give an example: if somebody is in south of Germany, producer, but not as an e-commerce company, deploying the shipments and sending out from there, it has multiple legs to reach the customers. Give an example: flying out of Stuttgart or Munich to Leipzig, from Leipzig then to Italy for the hub, from Italy to the next gateway in Rome, and then to be delivered is like 4 flights or 4 stops. Sometimes customers say, okay, I want to be closer to your main hub to firstly be more efficient in CO2 emissions. That means that I don't waste too much on the road. And secondly is also offering for my customers a much better cut-off time. Give an example: if somebody's ordering at 2100 near Leipzig, then we can fly it out. If it's like near Frankfurt, because there is a flight, it will be potentially 1800. So they will lose like 3 hours of selling capability for the same day. I think this is the resilience view. It's coming with the omni-shoring and especially near-shoring a lot. Lately, I think we hear also lots of friend-shoring, which is also very interesting. It was new for me when I heard first time. You need to understand what is friend-shoring, but then it was about values. which country is producing under which circumstances. I think also sharing the same values where they prefer even to pay a higher amount to get the goods. And I think this is also very interesting. And for that, actually, we have all the solutions. We are very flexible. We have flexible air network where we can change very quickly from 3 aircrafts from one country to 3 aircrafts to another country and reducing to 2 aircrafts again. And this is, I think, the unparalleled capability of DHL Express on resilience.
You just mentioned about this concept of friend-shoring. It was friend-shoring, wasn't it? Yes.
Yeah, friend-shoring. Yeah.
Friend-shoring. Some of the things that we hear about now when people talk about supply chain is not using slave labor or ensuring that's ethically sourced materials. Is that those are sorts of themes that sort of feed into the concept of friend-shoring?
Yeah, indeed. There's many aspects. When you look from the business of sustainability, I just give an example. Textile business is normally polluting a lot. If you go for jeans, there are lots of coloring, lots of chemicals that have been used. And normally these companies who are buying jeans, they are taking care actually that is economical friendly, that is produced CO2 friendly, and that's what I call also friend-shoring. That the suppliers needs to be understanding what the needs of the areas is. When you send something to Europe, then economically friendly is a buzzword. When you send potentially, I would say, to Latin Americas, then you might be able to send for a cheaper price, but without being economically friendly, give an example. So it depends on what the customer is needing. And that's what I mean with friend-shoring. Sometimes economical, sometimes is a slave labor topic, sometimes is the country ethics. Then people really look where their goods are coming from.
When we're talking about the flexibility that you just mentioned about being able to move air capacity from one route to another route and things like that, I suppose we should also talk about digitalization as well. How do you see digitalization playing into that? I mean, DHL Express surely must be a very digitalized organization to be able to achieve these sorts of things.
Yeah, we are extreme digitalized, but that's a never-ending story, I would always say, because you're never good enough. Every time you develop something, something new is popping up again, you want to try out, really increase your flexibility. I mean, digitalization is being used for many things. I give an example for even customer service, like robotics, RPAs, for chat robots. You can use it for your automation. We have given an example just a couple of years ago in Istanbul, built up state-of-the-art building for one time ever in express industry, where we have a complete robotic bond linked to an automated sort system, give an example, and we can really increase the efficiency. And normally around 100 colleagues were working there in this environment. We could do it with 20 afterwards. And this gives also resilience in terms of labor market issues. In most of the big capitals at the moment, you have also labor market issues. I can just give an example. When we had the labor market issue in Leipzig, we needed the support with 400 Spanish colleagues from Spain to train new people there and then onboard them in Germany, give them German lessons and hire them there because we didn't have enough labor. This was like a project we have done together. Therefore, I think getting more efficiency is a key word for Europe, especially to be really competitive, especially when you in Europe, not let's say a cheap production area, then you need to really focus on your strengths, on quality and see automation to at least compete in the market with your own production also.
While we're on the topic of robotics and things like that, is this idea you talked about was it in Istanbul, the sorting center where you got down to 20 employees? Yeah. There's also this idea about, what's it called? Like a lights off sorting center, where basically you've got so much automation and robotics in there, you don't even need to turn the lights on. Is that where we're heading, do you think?
No, I wouldn't say, because we are still a people-driven organization. When we implement it, that doesn't mean we have reduced people. We actually have more people than before in Istanbul, because there are other jobs popping up, like more, you need much more technicians in your building. You need somebody who's driving the sorting machine. We call it sort control center, which we never had before. So in total, we have more people, but you have the people on more, I would say, steering and maintenance area than on the standard production areas.
Let's change topic a bit now and talk about about B2B e-commerce. Again, a topic that we haven't talked a lot about on the Postal Hub podcast over the years. Can you share some thoughts about what's happening in the B2B e-commerce field from the DHL Express perspective?
Sure. I think B2B e-commerce is still growing and will grow further because lots of companies are lately, I would say, or delayedly moving into this B2B e-commerce. They still have often, I would say, the standard sales, the standard brochures, and really having salespeople moving around the globe and trying to sell things. But I think the future is really also, when you look from the cost efficiency, is the B2B e-commerce. Just in Germany, I give it Germany. In Germany, the online sales continue to fall in Q3. We have actually the online sales in Germany has fallen by around 14% compared to last year's same quarter. But B2B e-commerce is still growing because there is still a lot of opportunities. And one of the biggest gains, actually, in customer wins we had just lately was a B2B e-commerce company again. And I think B2B e-commerce is the area where a lot of, I would say, classical B2B businesses need to focus because it will drive their costs down and they will increase their reach also to a much bigger customer base.
When we talk about B2B e-commerce, just to give our listeners a bit of a feel for what we're talking about, are we talking about like the office sort of procurement? You're buying pencils and paper, or you're talking about something bigger where you might be, buying small equipment like a photocopier or a printer or computers? What kind of B2B e-commerce are we talking about?
Actually, there is no limit on that. I just give you some, without customer names, some customer examples. One customer is producing paints for a repair shop, and he is sending actually all the paints over the globe to repair shops dedicated to the color of the car. They order it, they send it to the shop, repair shops, they paint the car and send it. So nobody needs to go to a painter and get the paint mixed for the car, give an example. Other example I can call big, actually, textile machines. They have certain standards, like in how big they should be. Give an example for how much production capabilities they have. And one of the customers selling, actually, I'm talking about big machines online to B2B companies, and they can make rebates on the call. They said if you buy 3 machines, you will get 20% discount. There's also not a lot of negotiation platform. When the salesperson is going to end customers, often there's big negotiations going on also on the price. So they can save the money on this side, but give the discount on the price, give an example.
So would you say that we're seeing in B2B e-commerce in this evolution along the lines of what we saw in B2C e-commerce, where it's not just about the price, though, it's also about the customer experience? I mean, are we seeing fast delivery times? What are the kind of expectations for those B2B customers, the ones who are buying products?
I mean, from the experience wise, it's same as the e-commerce, I would say, because at the end there's an end buyer and there's a person behind the PC working for a company ordering something. So it's still about experience. And the experience is about the web page first, how the web page is structured. So we give even really support to our customers when we see the web page where, let's say, the areas of improvements are, because we have a lot of experience in that. We're using a certain system where we can see even which countries are coming onto the homepage of the customer. So we say, you have lots of people coming into your homepage from Australia or from India. Why are you not opening up your Indian sales, give an example, or making Indian language into the background? And this is, I think, some from the experience side, we need to really work with the customers to get the education on that, because there's so much things like currency. The people want to buy in US dollars. They have different measurements. They also want to see everything in inch, give an example. When you sell in Europe, you need to get centimeters on and sell in euro. I think when you work on these things, you can really improve up your sales. And it's actually a lot of technique behind the background to understand how you can improve the service also into your web page. And then for sure on the delivery side, it's up to the integrators like us, to support them to really get the customers the ship on the committed time and deliver it really undamaged and deliver it also with a smile. That's also very important. I always say that the face of the companies are our couriers, on the field, because the customer seeing mainly them. The rest is often very digital, and or they call the customer service. They hear the voice of our customer service. So this needs to be also, I would say, very very people-driven businesses with motivated people. And then I think you have a good brand. So if you have a good product to sell, it's good for your B2B, for your business, and you will grow for sure. And there's many proven actually cases. And I think one of the biggest cases I knew from was I don't know what you call it. I mean, we call it Bauhaus, where carpenters and so on go for shopping. And one of the biggest B2B e-commerce changes was the big carpenter shops actually were losing lots of revenues. One of them changed to online sales. And actually, they were biggest booming markets actually in the carpenter business.
We did have a discussion on the Postal Hub podcast about B2B from a hardware perspective a few weeks ago. And if I could remember the episode number off the top of my head, I'd mention everybody, but I'll stick a link on the episode page on the Postal Hub. Now, Mustafa, you've just been talking here about the delivery aspect. Delivering the last mile with a smile, I think somebody from DHL used to call it. How have you got the capacity to do not just sort of delivering parcels, one delivery person with a trolley delivering a few parcels, but also two-person delivery in the different markets?
Yeah. I mean, our business is anyway door-to-door delivery. That means doesn't matter what you order, we deliver door-to-door. So we have in every market not only standard pickup and deliveries for shipments up to 30 kilo or any shipment, doesn't matter if it's up 1,000 kilo, 1,500 kilo, we have a solution for it. And we order our trucks. If you can't manage with the trucking on our side, we rent the trucks out for that day, for that delivery. So from that perspective, yes, we do. We have a door-to-door delivery for every customer, and we don't just bump something in front of the street and say we go off, it's too heavy for us. No, we have solutions. We have two people delivery, and we have also, I would say, heavy delivery.
And it sounds to me like it's an important part of the B2B e-commerce delivery experience as well, as being confident that whatever you deliver, it will somehow be delivered. And I suppose at the risk of feeding you obvious questions, Mustafa, I think that communication with the end recipient is also important. I mean, if you have a two-person lift, like it's a couch or a fridge or whatever it might be, a piece of equipment, you want to make sure that the business is open when they arrive, don't you?
Yeah. And normally, I mean, we have ODD, on-demand delivery, especially for e-commerce customers. The e-commerce customers, give an example, often they're working, they are not at home. So they have the chance before the shipment's coming saying, no, don't deliver that day. You can deliver it between these 3 hours, time frame, or you can deliver it to this neighbor or keep it until the 25th and deliver at the 25th, give an example. So on ODD, we actually deployed it in all countries. And the reason was to increase the efficiency on one side for us. Every delivery stop you'll make for nothing is a cost base behind you. But on the other side, also making the right delivery at the right time for the customer, increase the experience. That's for sure.
Mustafa, this has been a fascinating discussion. We've talked about things, as I said, that we very seldom talk about on the podcast, not just the ideas of resilience and risk management, but also talking about some of the nitty-gritty of delivering B2B. And one of the things you mentioned is B2B is happening cross-border as well. So it's not just limited to those domestic markets. So really fascinating stuff. So Mustafa Tonguç, Managing Director for DHL Express Germany, thank you very much for joining us on the Postal Hub podcast today.
Thank you for having me, Ian.
Coming soon on the Postal Hub podcast, we'll be talking about parcel lockers, we'll be talking about urban delivery, we'll be talking about many, many other things over the course of 2024. Make sure you don't miss any of these episodes. Subscribe to the podcast via your favourite podcast platforms such as Google Podcasts or Spotify or Apple Podcasts. You can subscribe to my email newsletter. Go to thepostalhub.com and follow the links to sign up for the email newsletter there. You can follow me on LinkedIn. You can follow the Postal Hub podcast on LinkedIn. If you still like doing Twitter or X, formerly known as Twitter as it seems to be referred to constantly in the press, you can follow the Postal Hub over there. It's Postal Hub Pod is the handle. I don't even know why I'm bothering promoting it. I do tweet though. We still stay tweet. I post. Who cares? Anyway, do all of that. And if you want to email me, my email address is ian@thepostalhub.com. I'm Ian Kerr. Thanks for listening in, and I look forward to your company next time on the Postal Hub podcast.